hold on, sorry. She's the founder of Edumark Consult and the Kingdom Business Women Network and a few other initiatives that I'm sure she will be sharing with us nuggets and wisdom from her entrepreneurial journey. Mrs. Yinka Ogunde is truly a woman of many parts. She can be described as a seasoned marketing communication professional and entrepreneur with a keen sense and interest in education sector and social transformation. Her sojourn into the education sector through her company Edumark has contributed a great deal to the transformation of the private education sector in Nigeria. Mrs. Ogunde's online activities is quite extensive. She created the Concerned Parents and Educators Network 4 years ago with a cardinal objective to advocate for education reform. And guess what? The group currently has over 160,000 parents and education professionals from across the globe. So welcome a luminary today, Mrs. Yinka Ogunde.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Professor Marino. I'm so highly honored and delighted to be with you this evening. I can tell you that this is something that I've looked forward to for quite a while because it gives me an opportunity to meet the prof herself and to tell her that I've been drinking water, 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 water.
That's funny. Oh, I remember that.
Though not getting the rest part of it, still working.
That's a work in progress.
Yes, I'm work in progress. Thank you so much for
yeah, so today I just want to say that we want you to share your story with us, lessons you've learned along the way. And if you guys have questions, please post your questions on the chat box, in the chat box. Both of you, those of you on YouTube, the same thing, just type in your questions and we'll get to them and address them. But meanwhile, why don't you tell us how this all started? How did this whole phenomenon start with you?
Oh my God. I'm just wondering how far back I need to go. But I think that just like you stated, I started my career in the business of advertising. My first degree was in English, and then I went on to study mass communication from the University of Lagos. And it's always so surprising to quite a number of people that I didn't start out as a teacher, and I'm doing all these things that I'm doing. But I believe that's how things work out to be. There was a skill that I needed to get from that sector in order to use it to add value to another sector. So I started life working. I think I worked briefly at, I did my youth service at NTA Enugu. And then from there, I moved to the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State. And then I moved straight into advertising. And that was my base. That was where it started from. And I started from PromoServe. PromoServe used to be the #5 agency in the country at that time, after Insight, after OBM, all those of us in the advertising world in those days. It used to be quite a glamorous world, and to some extent, it still is a very glamorous world. And I think that experience actually prepared me for a lot of things, because it's when you talk about the business of advertising or the business of marketing communications, it's all about creativity. It's all about taking things and building around it for it to become an acceptable brand. So we work with brands. We create brands that last and last and last and last. And that was how I started. Along the line, I decided to have my own agency. With the benefit of hindsight, which I'll still be sharing maybe later in the program or so, I now look back and say that maybe I was I was still a bit too young to attempt my own agency at that time because it was just a case of I have to do this. I got this. I got this. I got this. And but as we go along, things happen. How did I move a bit? I would say shift a little bit into the education sector. I always tell the people in Corona about this. That's at that time, Corona was about to celebrate an anniversary. That's Corona, I mean, yes, Corona and Corona schools.
Okay.
So we had, yes, we had a meeting at the Trust Council in there. And we talked about all the plans and everything we did. But after the meeting, I just sat down and said that there is actually no organization that is serving the education sector in terms of marketing, advertising, helping them to build brands and things like that. And that was the beginning. Because clearly you can see entrepreneurship is about identifying opportunities. You must have an eye for opportunity. You must recognize it when it comes calling. That was the moment it came calling because I could see the potential, I could see the opportunities. I could understand that this is a sector that is emerging. So many schools were coming up, so much investment going into the sector. A lot of them were teachers. A lot of them read education and or allied subjects. But in terms of advertising, in terms of marketing, that was not their forte. And anywhere you have such a huge rush, invariably competition is going to result in that. And then the need for differentiation starts. So it was a good time. And that was how we created Edumark. And Edumark stands for Education Marketing.
Oh.
That was how we created Edumark. And that was our beginning. And from there, we started and we began to grow and flow into so many things. For me, it was almost like a natural fit. Natural fit in the sense that a lot of those running educational institutions, even up till now, is almost like 80% women. 80% women and maybe just a few men. Why was it also a natural fit again? I will tell you. Let me share the story because tonight is about sharing stories and hoping that in the midst of those stories, you'll be able to get one or two things. I remember the campaign very, very clearly. You know, in the advertising industry, we don't even say we are that they're women. We call ourselves the ad men. Ad men are meeting. Ad men are meeting. And please believe me when they say it is true. So on this fateful day, I think it was during the is it Second Republic or which republic did Abiola contest? That contest, the one that Abiola, the late MKO Abiola, was also was the presidential candidate at that time. I was a very young executive, and my agency, my advertising agency, was also contest. We were meant to deliver a pitch. So everyone worked overnight. Everyone, we worked so hard. We worked so hard and so many things. And it was so late in the night. And everybody is an ad man. And do you know what I had to do? By the time the agency car got me to my house, I said, all of you in the car, you will follow me upstairs. So. Where am I coming from in the middle of the night? You know, at that time, there was nothing like any kind of their phone in everybody. So everybody got out of, my colleagues got out of the car, all of them were guys, and they had to all follow me upstairs. And we knocked on the door. I said, all of us will be here together till the we knocked on the door. And My husband saw all of us guys. Okay, all the guys just by back. Oh yes, they just had to bring Miss Ogunde home. You know, she said, okay, sir, thank you very much, thank you very much. And we went in. I knew that I couldn't continue for too long running the kind of hours we needed to do in the advertising sector. So that's why I said that the education sector was almost like a natural fit for me, especially with young children at that time.
Ah, that's good. That's so good to know.
Yes, it was a natural fit for me, and that was how I began. And there were so many steps, because it's a great time when you have an opportunity to look back. Even stories that you have forgotten, they sort of keep flooding back, and you have so many things that people can learn from.
Before you continue, let's just recap some things that you've just said. So the first thing is you find a fit. You said education was a natural fit for you, but before that, your job in advertising was creative, and it's also helped you learn how to brand, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so what would you say to someone who is in a place where it might not necessarily be their natural fit? What would you say to that person? You're in a job, it's not your natural fit yet. What should you be doing at that job?
No, you know, that's why it's very, very important that you discover where you naturally fit in. Every one of us, we have our area of giftedness. That your area of giftedness is something that you do effortlessly without, when others are saying that you are working, you feel that you are having fun. Unless you discover that sweet spot, you are just going to find everything so challenging. That's why that sometimes in the midst of all the things that I do, and people are saying, oh, you must be tired, you must be tired. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm just having fun.
Yes.
That is because you are operating in your gift zone. If you want to confuse me, if you want me to labor, if you want me to become stressed out, if you want me to, you will actually see the physical pain on me. Just bring the accounts. Let the auditors just tell me they are coming tomorrow. Immediately you will see the sweat will break out, and I just feel like I just call my account person that, okay, oh yes, but could you guys just sort that out? They just sort out the figures, and I am almost like in pain. Even though I'm an entrepreneur, I know that I need to do it, but I'm realistic enough to know that it is not my area of giftedness. I labor through it every sense of the way. Every step of the way. All I just want to be sure is that, okay, yeah, we're making money. Okay, that's good. So what do I do if I'm caught in a place like this? I look for people who can complement me. I look for people who are strong in that area, who are naturally gifted with the figures, who can do it sleeplessly, who can do it with their eyes open, because it is their area of giftedness. And they're able to complement me effectively. That's one thing you must always try to do as an entrepreneur. That when you're running your business, it's very key that you realize that what's my gift zone? And then you build a team around you that's are not just necessarily like you, but you know that you have to be intentional about this. I'm not teaching leadership tonight. I will have told you one of those laws. One of those laws, we call it the law of magnetism, that you are most attracted to people who are just like you.
Absolutely.
That before you know it, all around you will be exactly people that you sort of think alike, you look alike. If you are not careful, your age bracket is alike and everything. But I realized that if you're going to build a team, you have to be intentional about your inner circle and the people you put in it, people who can have an impact on your business. Because if you all think alike, if you all look alike, you will be missing some things. You will be missing things. So that is the reason why I said that I try to operate from my gift zone most of the time. And anything that becomes a bit too much of a stress for me, I simply look for people who can do it better than I can do it. And they become part of my team. If you look at CPE, for example, CPE is made up of people, especially the admitting, people who are gifted differently. Yeah, they're gifted differently.
Mm-hmm.
They all have their areas of strength. And all I need to do is just to make sure that those who can do things better than I can in some area, I don't even bother to look in there again. And that has been very, very, very helpful for me. And that's one of the reasons why I've been able to do all the things I do in my professional capacity.
That's great, because you're putting people in position.
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, I said that's great, because you put people in positions where they can excel so that you can do what you need to do.
Absolutely. Don't send your dog to Eagle School.
I like that.
Because that's the truth. If you're trying to make your dog to fly like an eagle, no matter how long you train that dog, it's not going to be an eagle.
It's never
That's
going to be an
the
eagle.
truth.
Absolutely.
That's just true. That's just the reality. So I found out that I wanted to do so many things, but I needed to focus. If you notice, almost all the things that I do is concentrated on the education sector. And the reason for this is simple. I feel that that's where God has called me to be, and where God has called me to make a difference. And that is an area that I've always tried to ensure that within it, I am adding value. Maybe I speak about adding value. There's nothing we create that we don't first assess that will this add value to the community. And it's always based on an analysis of the need, what we call maybe need analysis, or we call it situation analysis, or what they need at that time. So when you look at Edumark, we split the education sector up. We looked at parents, we looked at students, we looked at teachers, we looked at school owners, and we created products based on what we found out are the things they need. And that caused us to begin to grow, That caused us to begin to grow. Maybe another thing before Professor Merino comes in is that I would like to add is the place of perseverance. It's the place of perseverance. A lot of you might have seen this week, we are celebrating TOSE Week. You know, our program TOSE is the full name is the Total School Support Seminar and Exhibition. This year will have been the 12th year of TOSE, and if not for the coronavirus, it's banned. Last year was awesome. It's a program that attracts over 8,000 visitors from all parts of the country, outside the country, outside Africa, outside everywhere. They all come in there. For the first 5 years of that program, I was running at a loss. Every edition of it, I tell people everybody who cares to listen in within that hall, that if you see me doing this program again next year, drive me away. Tell me, but guess what? As soon as I recover, I pay off my debts, I'm back again. As soon as I recover and pay up everybody, I am back again. We didn't make any headway for quite a long time. But today is regarded as the biggest education show in Africa. And even when we are not holding the program this year, everybody is celebrating Tosi all over the internet. Everybody is sharing Tosi memories. Everybody is talking about the impact Tosi has made in their lives. That is perseverance. We started with very, very humble beginnings at the Sheraton. And you could count our number of exhibitors. You could count our number of visitors. But that is why you must stay on the lane once you feel that that is what has been laid on you to do. I give another example. When we started within the education sector, my very first seminar, this was where things were interesting. Maybe I should just say this, just in case someone needs to hear this. I was pretty clear in my head the kind of organization that I want to run. Here was I was coming in from the advertising sector, a very glamorous sector. Everything we do it with panache, we do it with style. That's what advertising people were known for. And I wanted to bring that into the education sector. And the very first seminar that I wanted to do, I put it for the Sheraton Hotel. And people were calling me and telling me that, oh, they could give me their hall, their classroom in their school. That's where they all seminars. That means, why do you want to go and give Sheraton money? Guess what? We're talking about 17 years ago, not now. So maybe you have to bear that in mind. Now everybody, but at that time, it was a case of how could you do this? How could you do? You don't. We don't come to Sheraton. Well, this we do. We are education. We don't do it in the classroom. I said no. What is in my head? That is not the concept. And that was and guess what I did again? At that time, I think it was about 2 or 3 years later. Princess Sarah Shoso became the deputy governor, and she was also in charge of the education ministry. And I just went up to her, female to female, woman to woman, without knowing me from anywhere. She became the one that was declaring open all my programs. And what did that translate to? Some measure of credibility at that time, which I needed. That anything she's doing, the deputy governor is always there to declare it open. I wasn't making money, please trust me. Another thing, even though I was not making money, anytime I want to do a program, I'm sure that was why I ran at a loss, especially all those Tose ones. But everything was clear what I want, the kind of brand that I wanted to build. Tose or any of my programs, is there anything bigger than a full-page advert in the newspaper? No. Mm-hmm. I will do a full-page advert to advertise what I need to do. And that gave us that kind of right kind of perception, the strength. It didn't exactly work with our balance sheet because all my account people at that time felt that it would be impossible for me to make money running this way. But that was just what I wanted to do at that initial start. That means that if you are running a business, be very clear about the kind of business that you want to do. The takeoff is never about the money. It's always about the brand. Because when people have a good feel about your brand, when you are real, when you are authentic, when you are genuine, it will add up eventually. I'm not saying you will explode or you will blow, like we always say in Nigeria, that you will blow. No, but people will come to trust your brand. People will come to respect your brand because that brand has consistently preached integrity. You have been there, you have persevered, you have delivered on your promises. That is so key. There are times I have had to incur very great losses. Prof, that's why I said that people will even learn more from my sharing mistakes rather than successes. Let me share another mistake with you. It was big because it was, at that time, you can imagine a young business. We normally do, we do a lot of print jobs that we design, yearbooks and those back in those days. And we've done this beautiful job for the clients. We've done this absolutely beautiful. It was a school in Abuja. I remember how much they paid, and that was about almost 9, 10 years ago. They paid us about 980,000 naira back then to deliver the job, out of which my profit was about 200,000 or less. But guess what? Because at that time I was still learning the ropes, or maybe I was not as careful as I should have been. I didn't put the process for proofreading in place as strongly as I should have done. They put imagine this picture, calling, my name is Yinka Ogunde, but they call me Aki Merino. Then they call Aki Merino Yinka Ogunde in the book. Oh, yes, imagine. And they would already deliver. We had to do an entire reprint. We had to do an entire reprint. You can imagine that kind of thing on a young business. But what it translated to was a huge loss for us that year, because that was like everything you made a young business at that time was wiped off. Well, it translated to a lot of goodwill with the clients, which all, even up till today, she still remembers. Because your word can be trusted.
Yes.
Say, yes, people believe it. And that's key. Yeah. I hope I am making a bit of sense. Give us a bit of...
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. We're just listening to you. Yes, you're making a lot of sense. A lot of sense. But let's I think there's some questions already. But before I ask those questions, I just want to say that your stories are powerful and they're real, they're authentic. And you kept saying that if for your business, you should have a very clear vision of the trajectory of that business in your mind, and that's important because people are going to try to steer you away from it. So what does it take to develop a clear vision?
Sometimes the vision can even become hazy. You may have it in your mind. You may have it written down. But things may change and you will need clarity sessions. That's why in everything that you're doing, you must always have people that you can actually relate with. I was just about searching for something, because when you talked about vision, when all this happened, I knew that I needed a bit of clarity. I knew that I needed to to look at the Edumark brand again in terms of our journey, and in terms of what we are becoming. Not just who we were years ago, not just what we've been doing years ago, not just our desire to be a consultancy outfit serving the education industry by doing this and blah kind of projects or that kind of project. We wanted to have a vision of where we are becoming, and that is taking us even into a kind of introspection. People who will be able to look at the things that you're doing. I'm running one of my very, very close, I won't call it, yes, sister, because I'm older, but at times when some people are more powerful than you, if you, I mean, you need to respect their brain, first class brain, everything. I just had to call her. I said, look, I need some clarity on these things. I just want to talk. So she listens to me talk. She asks some questions, and then you are able to come up even with better clarity on what you want to do. Like, for example, we were jiggling together Edumark so much. And let me read a statement. If you can read this on my phone. I mean, that's why I was actually putting it on my phone to say.
You read it out to us, please.
I will read it out. I will read it out now. That, okay, oh yeah. That's, I will read it out now, and we're just trying to walk through it and say, okay, what is Edumark becoming? What is our journey? Where do we intend to go, and what do we intend to achieve by where we are going? And we had to come up with another thing entirely. I think that thing just disappeared now. I will see it again, but I will see it just very, very quickly in my phone now.
It's okay. While you look for that, I'll look at the questions while you're doing that. I'll look through some of these questions.
Yes, I just wanted to read it out, but I won't allow that to take our time. But it's just meant to capture the kind of person, I'm using that word person for an organization, what we want to become, how creative we wanted to be, the kind of services we wanted to be delivering, even the kind of clients that we want, clients that can afford to pay for our services, clients that will appreciate our creativity, clients that will be excited by what we have to offer. So we're just trying to capture everything. What this does is that it helps you write the vision. In fact, if you see my table, it's like during this period, I have almost like a jotter for everything. Now, what did I call this jotter? I said the Edumark's Reforms to Transformation book. Another one, I will have it again, useful marketing tips. Another one, everything that I am getting, I'm just sort of collecting it down so that I will get a better understanding. Because the most dangerous thing that you can do as an entrepreneur is to stop growing. And growth is always intentional and deliberate. You must.
And what was it? Intentional and what?
Deliberate, intentional, deliberate, and plan. I mean, all meaning the same thing, just for emphasis. You must never assume that the way you've been doing it is the way it's going to continue. You know what? One thing I find very remarkable about the period that we are in, even established businesses became a startup.
That's true. That's true.
Even every one of us, I mean, it became a startup. I was telling one of my daughters this evening as I was walking around, I said, look, it seems as if my head is just doing somehow. He said, because you are loading it with so many things. I said, yes, that I'm putting in it, and then my calm moments. Never joke with your calm moments as an entrepreneur. You need that also. You need that for your mental well-being, because it's so easy to break down. It's so easy to enter into overload. It's so easy to become frightened about how you're going to get to pay salaries at a time like this. But I have chosen to see this period as a time for growth, not in terms of personal growth alone, but as a time to rejig my business, as a time to give it a rebirth. I always look at things from a marketing perspective. We have what we call the product growth cycle. That means that you give back to the product, it's rising, then it plateaus, and then it begins to fall. If you don't do anything to get that product born again, that product is going to die. I'm sure that even if you go to the market, you will realize this. In Nigeria, if you ask for a brand like Goody Goody, it used to be popular in those days. Goody Goody just died and fizzled away. If you ask for so many things, there's a way brands just They just disappear, except you need to keep on giving birth to them over and over again. That's why you will see people telling us that so they're doing a relaunch of Maggie Cubes, or they're doing a relaunch of Bombita, or they're doing a relaunch of this, just because they want to prolong the life cycle of that brand. So I look at my business that way, that if I've been doing something consistently for 5 years and I've not changed anything, then I'm getting something wrong. That's where the creativity and excitement about what you do as an entrepreneur counts. Every edition of the programs that we do in my organization, I will ensure that there's something different every year. If you come to me with the same templates that we used last year, then that means that you're not thinking. And you're not excited about it. Because if you're excited about it, you will have seen an angle that you missed last year and that we need to include, or something has happened in the world that can make it better. That's the way I think most times. And that's the way the flash will come. But you need to be thinking about what you're doing. You need to be excited about what you're doing. Oh God, immediately you are excited about what you're doing, there's a way the ideas will keep on popping. Because when you focus on something, it gives birth to marvelous things. It gives birth to so many other things. I was reading on CPA today, and then somebody said, I just read a comment, and I just called my one of my people in the office. I said, you know what? Just give me a design. I want to do a reach out Wednesday. A reach out Wednesday. Reach out Wednesday. Everybody reach out to minimum of 10 members. Connect with them. Just ask where they are. Just ask the whole thing. Now everybody's asking people, how are you? How are you? And they're connected. It comes out of thinking about what you're doing. Good. I hope I'm making sense.
You're making sense. Let me ask you this question. You're making a lot of sense. Everybody's just listening to you. So there's a question that says, hello, ma'am. As a female leader and as a successful entrepreneur, we know that Africa is patriarchal in nature. What has been the most significant barrier in your business journey as a woman, and how did you handle it? Thank you.
Africa, yes. I wouldn't even want to say Africa. I mean, all over the world. But it all depends on your mindset. Your mindset is very, very important and critical. If you're already operating that you are at a disadvantage, I can tell you, you will be. But if you choose not to think that way, if you choose and speak to yourself about what you can be, what you have the potential to be, then I'm sure things will be a bit different. Because for me, I worked in the advertising business, and I just shared the fact that a lot of them, they were men. A lot of them were men who go for annual general meeting or anything, anywhere. And in a whole hall, you will have 100 men, and you'll see 3 of us women. I remember the 3 very well. Myself, Mrs. Bola Thomas, and Bumi, okay? Then Funke Wakwa began to join us. And then about 3, I mean, for me to be able to mention the names of the ladies, that shows how few we must have been. And what that meant at that time was that if you need to say something, be very sure of what you want to say. If you need to contribute, make sure you've done your research. If you need to put forth an idea, because don't forget you're at an AGM, and all of them will be making all the various points and when you want to talk. But once they know that you can effectively hold your own, then they begin to respect you. They begin to have tremendous respect for you. I remember when we wanted to start the Women in Advertising group, and all the men said, no, Yinka, You want to start babying these girls. No way. Nobody babied you guys when you were there. You went through all the grind. Nobody, and we had to convince them of the need for us to not take the younger girls at that time. So it depends on your mindset. I wouldn't want you to look at it from the point of view of the fact that I am female. I'm not saying that those problems are not there. They certainly are, but you must learn how to manage them. You must learn how to manage your husband. You must learn how to manage your in-laws. You must learn how to manage your children. But the whole process, guess what? It actually belongs, it starts with you. It starts with you. It's a journey that I have walked. It's a journey that I understand. My husband is a lawyer. I mean, I can share this. He's a lawyer and a very, very sound advocate. You know, all those lawyers that live in the courtroom, not the lawyers that do agreements. So no, they love the courtroom. They stand in front of the judge to argue every day. So you can imagine that kind of person. Oh yes, senior advocate of Nigeria, lawyer, everything. So initially, whenever there's any argument, before you know it, I am crying because the lawyer will have so marshaled his thoughts. There's a way, I tell him that there's a way you construct the argument as if it's an architect that is constructing it, as if you're actually in the courtroom. You're not leaving the courtroom out of the, you're bringing the courtroom right home. And it's a question of, okay, yes, arguments. Till I got wiser. I got wiser. And I had to devise my own ways so that when the argument is about to start, I will also ask for a timeout that I will come back. And I would have restructured area. By the time I started doing that once or twice, I looked at me and I said, who is teaching you all? How are you getting to
You learned the lesson real well.
So at the end of the day, you need to devise your own way. You need to devise your own way. And you also know that when it comes to the relationship between the husband, your business, and the home, it certainly helps to get the husband on your side. I can tell you that. It certainly helps to get your husband on your side. So it's not a case of something that you're going to do with a lot of antagonism. No, that never works. That's why the Bible tells us the wise woman builds her home. It's done with wisdom. It's done with understanding. And it's done with the prayer, by being prayerful. Okay.
Thank you.
Someone answered that question.
Yes, we do. Someone says, how do we help from, where's that question? How do we help from those of us that are in diaspora that are abroad? How do we help? I'm trying to find that question so I can read it out the way she actually said it. If you were the one who asked that particular question, unmute yourself and ask it because I can't see it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Authority.
Yeah, Authority, yes.
Yes. Oh, Ms. Ogunde, you have so much wealth of experience and knowledge. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Authority. Yeah.
So my question is, how, those of us here in diaspora, I'm in the States, how do we help? How do we get to Nigeria and get situated with you, get connected, and help in any way we can?
Okay. Well, it all depends on how you want to help. I mean, Prof is quite connected with also concerned parents and educators. Yeah. And I also believe that that the education sector truly needs help in Nigeria. And we all have lots of ways we can support the sector. We have local schools, we have very, very poor teachers, very, very poor teachers. In fact, that is something that is a major area of concern for me at the moment, because this pandemic or COVID-19 has really shown the underbelly of the education sector in terms of remuneration of our people. A lot of people are poorly paid. We have problems in so many areas. I tell you that we'll have a lot to do. And I'm sure that we will certainly appreciate any help coming from any part of the world in terms of that. Yes, we'll certainly appreciate help. And one of the things that we can always also reassure you is that whatever help you render will be judiciously spent and fully accounted for. We've managed to do that consistently on CPE, and I believe that people can vouch for integrity.
Okay.
Yes.
So thank you, Master. I was looking in the line of training.
Okay.
Certifications with training, like coming from Houston. My focus is early childhood, early years. I'm a trainer. I'm a trainer here. So we have lots of guidelines to reopening schools here as well. I'm on the committee as well. So my focus is training teachers, early years, and just classroom management and all it entails. So you're a guru in that aspect, in that field. So we can probably talk later as
well. Yes, you can certainly. I mean, I can easily share my details with you at any time once we connect. You know how to connect with me, and I'll share my details with you. And I'm sure that we'll be able to create even platforms for you that you can get across to some of our teachers in order to provide training for them. We have lots of platforms that you can actually use, and we will also appreciate that help tremendously, because we need to raise better quality teachers. And I'm so glad that we're connected, because early years is the foundation of everything.
Absolutely.
It's the foundation of everything. So we'll appreciate that help.
Good.
It's good to come.
That'll be great. Thank you.
Excellent.
Yes.
All right. So thank you so much for that. That's amazing, because you have teams all around you. That's another thing. You've built teams of experts all around you, which is I think, what would you say about that? What would you suggest that people build teams, or how would you say to someone who is the only person at their business? They're the only one. How do they move forward from there?
One thing that we say, there's something we say in the John Maxwell family, that one is too small. One is too small to achieve greatness. That's the law of significance. You need a team around you. One is too small a number to achieve greatness. That is the law of significance. In fact, it took me a long while to actually understand that, because John Maxwell was talking about the laws of teamwork, and he was sharing principles that if you really, really want to be successful, if you want to be significant, you need a team around you. He was sharing even about athletes, that if you see an athlete running on the field, so many people are around him. He has got trainers, he's got managers, he's got so many people supervising him. He said, all those are people that have made him successful. And then the higher you want to climb, the more the need for teamwork elevates. That's the law of Mount Everest. The higher that you want to climb, the higher we go, the more the need for teamwork elevates. I sort of work with the consciousness of this a lot of times, because I know that I can't do everything by myself. If I keep on doing the same thing over and over again, and I'm the only one supervising it, because I believe that I am the only one that knows how to do it really well, I'm not going to be able to grow. I'm not able to move on to other things. I'm not able to create so many other things that I should be doing. Now, I'll give you an example of Tosi. That's our popular program, Tosi. There was a year that's we've been doing Tosi for a while. I sort of know, we all know the ropes and everything. Then this young man comes to gets into our organization. And then the one that was the project manager of that year misbehaved about 3 or 4 weeks to Tosi, and we had to tell him to resign, and he had to leave. And everybody was wondering, like, hey, how are we going to do it? I said, no problem. I said, you know what? I can see the potential in you to handle this. At that time, I couldn't really see much, but I needed to speak into his life for him to rise up. He put on to that. But I knew that he had a spark. And I knew that I would support him from the back. And that was how we began. That was the young man is still with me even 5 years after, up till today. He said that year, for those 4 weeks before Tose, he never slept. He said he was waking up 12 o'clock in the midnight, and all he could dream of was Tose. Everything where he was going, you call him in the 3 a.m., he's still out there, he's still thinking of Tose. What I had to do, I just said, okay, you know what? I don't want to put all the burden on my head. This has happened. Let me share it, and then give him some of these burdens to also take. You must learn the art of delegation. You must learn the art of letting go. You must know the right time to let go. Because if you think you can do it all by yourself, there's a limit to which you can rise. You become the lead on your organization. Because everything will just have to stop at where you are. You must also allow your people to make their mistakes, because in making their mistakes, they will learn. If they're not allowed to make the mistakes, they're not going to learn. So that's what we call failing forward. You fail forward. You learn from the mistakes. Oh God, tonight is not a night of sharing mistakes. In fact, if you are going to write about my mistakes, that's the real deal. So many mistakes. So forget about all the ones that you see. Every success is a lot of mistakes. It's a learning curve. You must learn to embrace your mistakes and even begin to enjoy your mistakes and move on. I've made quite a lot of them. Because motion crosses friction. Once you are in motion, once you are moving, so many things will begin to happen. Mistakes will occur. It is only if you stay in that place that is your comfort zone that you're not in, that you'll be sure, okay, this is what I do day in, day out. That's your comfort zone. You already know it. It's a matter of routine. It's a matter of routine. But there is no growth that happens in the comfort zone.
Absolutely not.
No growth happens in the comfort zone. Until you move out of your comfort zone, until you face your fear, until you make the decision to continue to learn, that's when you'll be able to grow.
Yes.
All these things are very important. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just agreeing with you. Go ahead.
Okay. I think I saw a question. Somebody asked a question and said, okay, what keeps you going?
Yeah, yes. What keeps you going?
What keeps you going?
I think you answered it a little bit. Your passion, we know. What else?
You know, it reminds me of one of my friends. She said somebody called her and was asking her, that your friend, Yinka, that my friend is Igbo, so she has a way of calling my name. She said, Chika, said, that your friend Yinka, that Yinka, does she drink agbo, or does she drink one kind of concoction that energy? Or does she drink something? But I guess it's passion and loving what you do. You must try to do the things you love. That for me is key, because I really don't think about money much. I'm not saying money is not good. Of course, all of us think about money. All of us will love to earn income. But the first thing, the first question that I always like to ask is that, will I enjoy doing this? If I will enjoy doing this, how can I make money out of it? That's why sometimes a lot of people come to me with beautiful proposals. I'm sure I would have been much wealthier because I can't even imagine the number of ICT firms, the number of this, the number of that. So by the time I sit down, most times with them, if I can't key into my excitement spot about it, I just smile very nicely.
Oh, did we lose her?
Yeah, I think so. She's not on anymore.
Give us a minute. I'm sure she'll be right back. We did lose her. Let me text. Let me see what's going on. Let me see. Hold on. Okay, she's back. Unmute yourself. I think we lost you. Okay,
Oh, yes.
there you go.
I was wondering what happened.
Yeah, you just felt you just disappeared. I was like, okay, that must be a network thing or something.
Exactly. I was wondering what happened next. Anyway, it's good to be back here. Okay, where was I? I think I was just, yes.
You were talking about what keeps you going.
Yes. For me, I believe it's the passion about what I do, is the desire to make a difference. And it's something that when I see a problem, I don't run away from the problem. And you will see if you go through a lot of things that I've done in the past, I've never allowed money, like I said, to determine what I will do. I'll give you a little example. That was God knows how many years ago, when I was very active in the business of advertising. And I just saw that there were so many young people who really did not understand what we do in the advertising business. They don't know about copywriting. They don't know about media management. They don't know about a lot of these things. And I decided to start organizing a program to start organizing something for them. I called it Stepping into the Marketing Communications Industry, a fresh graduates kind of program. And it was going to be it was absolutely free. I would press the newspapers to give me free adverts. I would call my clients to pay for the hall. I would call another client to buy food for them. I would do all that. And I was not charging them any money. That was almost close to 2 decades ago. I think I shared the story on my birthday last week about the young, that I mean, Rotary Club invited me somewhere, and this big man that was chairman of the Rotary Club, and he was not saying, and the way it was going up and down and saying, I was wondering, hey, is it because I'm guest speaker or something? And then he took the microphone and he reminded me of a program of more than 17 years or 16 years ago. And he was one of my students in that
Look
program.
at that. Yeah.
Man. And he said it was that certificate. That was how he got into the business of advertising. Because when we were running that program, all our graduates were able to make sense of what we do in advertising. They could pass interviews in the big agencies because we will have taken them through some basic things in our business. And I was not charging. But the ripple effect of a lot of things like that has really been of tremendous joy to my heart. For 15 years, we were running We Are the Future of Our Nation. And We Are the Future of Our Nation was a program that did not give me any money. But it gave me a lot of, how do I say it now? It warmed my heart. It was the program that brought me in contact with so many people that ordinarily I would not have met, because they saw the passion. They saw the desire to make an impact. People like General Gowon and so many of them were coming to the program regularly. And we ran it for 15 years, bringing together almost 3,000 students from various parts of the country. and they were not paying. If you ask me how I did it now, I'm probably going to smile and say, oh my God, that was audacious. That was unbelievable. Because I don't know how I did it. And we will rent a huge hall. I will find the people to buy the food for them. I will do it. If you see me working hard to put the future together, what fun? And you, are they paying her? No, it was the passion. The objectives were clear. 3 core objectives: to inspire patriotism in young Nigerians, to promote unity, and to raise role models. Formidable. For 15 years, we ran it. It was the biggest gathering of youth from various parts of the country. And it was just conceived. As I jumped off my bed one morning, I just said, we are the future of our nation. I'm going to run with the future of our nation. What for? And before I knew it, everything was boom, 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 boom. And there we are.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, we could listen to you all day. You have so many stories, and you have to come back and share some more. We want to hear about the challenges. We want to hear some more of your stories, and you know what the future holds. There's so much that we can still learn from you. So thank you so much for today. You know, we want to keep to our time. We promised an hour, and that's what we're giving them. And if you have any, you can unmute yourself, turn on your videos if you want to say thank you, and say any words to Mrs. Ogunde. Thank you so much, and we will see you on another time. There's a lot of thank yous already going on the chat box.
Yeah.
You know, so
thank you, Mofoluke. Thank you, Osaritin. Please, let's connect. Just something.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. Abiodun, Adebimpe, and a lot of thank you so much.
So we'll talk to you again. Thank you, audience, for being such a great audience, and those of you on YouTube. And we will talk to you guys later. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.